Hey my beautiful cosmic cousins, Adrian Nelson here from AHNGreatLife.com, and in this video I am going to speak about something that I'm very passionate about, which is um, mirror work or mirror magic rather. But since I said mirror work, let me quickly speak about mirror work very quickly, and then we'll speak about water magic. So, and in a sense, mirror work sort of fits in with mirror magic in any case. And what we're also going to speak about in this video is the formative energy of emotions, which goes along with water as well as with fire. So when you look at mirror magic, you need to look at water energy, but you also have to look at fire energy. But let me just quickly speak about mirror work. So mirror work, even though it's been something that's been around for a very long time, I think somebody that really made it very popular on a very global sort of scale was the incredible Louise Hay, who was the founder of Hay House. And she was just amazing. And if you're really in a space where you really want to change your life and you want to change your life for the better and you want to make touch with, sort of like in contact with your magic and that sort of thing, Louise Hay has written this book, which is called You Can Heal Your Life. And it was on the New York bestseller list twice. It was really amazing. Um, so that is really something amazing to look at. I'm just sort of smiling inwards because I remember I was actually dreaming last night, and I dreamt, I was surprised because I saw myself actually having You Can Heal Your Life, and I was giving it to someone else, and I was surprised that I have it because even though I owned the book several times, I feel sometimes like when I find something that's really amazing for me and I've, kind of gotten what I can get from it, I like to pass it on to others. Consequently, I actually owned that book several times and gave it away several times, but I don't have a copy at the moment. But I think maybe the dream, because I didn't kind of fully get it, it was a little bit almost like a Michael Jackson concert, I suppose you can say, but not as over the top. But there was a little bit of almost like a fairy vibe. There was a little bit of like mist, and it was actually quite beautiful. And so maybe it's with me now giving that to you. Maybe that's what it's about. But when we look in a mirror, you basically look in your own eyes, and obviously they say the eyes are the windows to the soul. And when you look at your own eyes, you can't really lie to yourself. Obviously, unless you're like a psychopath or something like that, where you would believe certain things. But not that I've got. We're not even going to talk about that. Okay. But when you look in your own eyes and you look in the mirror and you see your own truth, you will sort of feel it within yourself when you are lying to yourself. And so a powerful way to really bring about changes in our life sometimes is when you look at yourself in a mirror and you can speak to yourself, especially when we get to sort of like loving yourself and working with yourself and appreciating yourself. And I always say to the capacity that it's comfortable for you. Maybe, sometimes we can't actually look at our own face in the mirror. And there was a time when I couldn't do that either because, I had a firm belief that God must make mistakes. That, this God that everybody says is so perfect, like, ooh la la, can't really be that perfect because I believe that God made a fundamental mistake because God made me, which was, proof that that God must be flawed. And obviously, once I worked past that, I found a new sort of utopia within myself, which is basically wonderful. And I specialize in helping a lot of people work through difficult periods in their lives because I've been down there. I know what it's like to be low in life. And so. Um, I would normally say that if you can't look at your face, maybe just start with your hand, even if you just look at it and look at something that you kind of like. Like the first thing that I got is like, oh, I've got sort of like nice long fingers. I quite like that about myself. I've got sort of slender hands. I'm 39 at the moment, 39 and a half, 40 in July. And, for someone that's of an older age, I suppose you would call that what is age anyways, I still have very young hands and I'm like, I quite like that about myself. And then as you kind of move forward, as you are able to like more of yourself, and sometimes we can't love ourselves yet, but you can like yourself and you can heal your life, can really help you with that sort of thing. um, until maybe you one day able to reach a stage like I've got this huge mirror in my lounge, like this one wall is just a mirror, And and I mean, I have now, from the point that I was at, I am now at a point where I can, stand completely naked in front of the mirror, look at myself from all different angles, and instead of saying like, "Ooh, look at you, you're getting fat and you're getting like a little bit of a belly here, and like your arms are getting flabby, and you really should go to the gym," and like so forth and so forth and so forth, I got to a point where I love and appreciate every part of my being, because this is the vessel that is carrying me through this life, that make it possible for me to be able to have this physical experience of life. So it's this temple that I have, and instead of looking at my own body as so many of us do, and feeling that you're too light, you're too dark, you're too tall, you're too short, this should be longer, this should be, I don't know, more sort of perked, or like whatever, really. We find all these mistakes with ourselves, but in essence, you're perfect. I think something that really sort of, kind of like was that light bulb moment for me is when I realized this one day, and it was literally, at this point I was really beginning to wake up out. It's probably about 25th, no, 2016, I would imagine, there around. I kind of got to the realization, it's almost like God was speaking to me, because I can recognize the voice of God, with all the other different ones. When I say different ones, I mean like when different beings are talking to me, maybe a ascended master, or Jesus, or a Regression, or a fairy, or, part of my team, or angel, or whatever. They all sort of have different ways of speaking and personalities, just like we as humans do. Um, and so, and in a way, I think this talk is being very divinely guided, because this is not what I intended to speak about, even though I obviously get to the mirror part, but I think this really works with it. That it was the voice of God that was saying to me, like, if you made yourself, would you have done a better job? And I immediately realized that the answer was no. And even if you look at the details, to the uniqueness that we are with our fingerprints, and we are magic, but we forget that we are magic, because we're so used to it. And we often look for magic on the outside when magic is actually on the inside. So mirror work really helps you with that sort of thing. But getting to the actual topic of our conversation in this video, speaking about mirror work, because and I'm making this because I had this incredible tarot reading with a client a little while ago, and I'm going to tag this video. I'm going to put it at the end of those suggested videos for you to look at that. I'm not sure what the title is, simply because I haven't uploaded it yet. It's still on my phone, but I'm wearing a green shirt with a beautiful crystal around my neck, which was a gift to me from one of my beautiful friends. And even with that, it's so amazing that I got it as a gift. I wore it, and it's sort of like, sometimes quartz can have little bits of actual gold inside. It's called ritualated gold. It really strengthens your aura, and if you have to deal with difficulties. And I wore it for about 2 or 3 days, and then I got this call that my best friend was very, very sick, and I was like, listen, God, I will accept it if it means that my friend has to go, but I wouldn't prefer it. And so I really needed that strength for that, which was great. And my friend didn't pass, which is even more amazing. you know. So I think water itself has been celebrated since forever. When you, for example, look at the Cherokees, which lived in sort of like the eastern sort of part of, southeastern more part of like the USA, like the North American Indian sort of like almost like descendants, so to speak. Well, you can look that all up for yourself if you want, to the Cherokees. But what they did is they understood that if water was coming from the earth, that it was almost like a point of reference, because remember, water makes life possible. And this is also going with mirror work, so don't worry about that. I'm getting to that. So water makes life possible on planet Earth. And without water, we can't live. Nothing can grow. We ourselves, our body consists of 65% water. Two-thirds of the planet is covered by water. There's so much of the ocean life that we don't even know about. I think it's about 90% of ocean life we don't know about. And then people's like, for example, mermaids don't exist. And I'm like, if 90% of the territory we don't know about, how do we actually know? Where did people come up with the concept? Water is, when you look up in the sky, you see clouds. There's water. Water is always condensating, which means it's always around us. Now, there's a gentleman whose name was Masaru Emoto, And he wrote a bestseller, a New York bestseller. It's called The Hidden Messages in Water. And he was a Japanese like businessman, an author, a pseudoscientist. And pseudoscientists look into things like, why do things, for example, like crystal healing works? Which also, the reason why crystal healing works is because the human body consists mostly of water. Water is a highly changeable structure. And so with crystals, basically, they've got a certain sort of output that they have, like almost like a pH level, like a vibration that doesn't change. So when we surround ourselves with crystals and things like that, the water inside of us absorbs that sort of like vibration or energy that the crystal gives out, and that changes our molecular structure. The other thing with water is that it changes based on your consciousness around it. And this is what Masaru Emoto did a lot of, what do you call it? Boom. Like a lot of exploration into, how when you say you've got an energy around water that you are happy, the molecular structure of the water is a certain way versus when you are angry, when you're upset, when you are anxious, when you take it into a calm space, when you take it into a space where there's a lot of angry energy, when you expose it to different sort of sound vibrations, the molecular structure of the water changes. And that is why it's such a powerful thing. I actually happen to have a glass of water with me at the moment. One of the most powerful things that you can do for yourself, and I do this every day of my life, is when I wake up, I'll take a glass of water, I put my intentions into it for the day, and then you drink that molecular structure, which, by the way, I'm a little thirsty. So even you may have heard before of something called crystal elixirs, which is something that I make from time to time. And so what really happens is when you sort of put water in the middle, you put the crystals around and you sort of expose it to heat, like sunlight is perfectly fine. It sort of like speeds up that molecular structure within the crystals, which kind of extends that vibrative sort of energy, and then the water kind of takes it on. Okay. That's the long and short of how crystal elixir is basically made. With that being said, please just bear in mind that you can't just take any crystal and put it in water and expect it to be fine, because remember, crystals are still minerals from the earth, and some of them can be highly poisonous to you. So always be sure that you know exactly where you're going if you're going to do that sort of thing. A lot of people will tell you that all quartz crystals is safe to put in water. It's also not the case. So please do your homework if you're going to work with crystals specifically, especially if you're going to put it inside of the water. You really want to be mindful, because you can actually poison yourself. All right. So with all of that being said, bringing us still back to mirror magic, mirrors are gateways, okay? And when you first of all look at where mirrors are coming from, so mirrors is basically glass. So it's basically sand, which is an earth energy, that is then heated to quite a high sort of temperature, which is fire energy, which is, when we bring fire into things, it always brings some sort of change about, It always, like, I don't really have a crystal with me now that would have gone through that process. I don't. I've got a lot with me, but none of them. But when you sort of look at like obsidians, for example, there is usually sort of like liquid lava that came out of it was spewed out of a volcano, hits the cold air, which is water, and then it changes and it makes it solid and it becomes something different. So just with mirrors, first of all, mirrors are incredible when you want to either manifest something into your life or manifest something out of your life. The thing to remember that if you're going to work with mirrors, I would always recommend start small, because mirrors are very powerful magic, and you don't want to overwhelm yourself. So I always say start really, really small. Start smaller than you may feel comfortable with, way smaller, and then work your way up gradually, okay? Maybe you just need a bit of a solution, like maybe you're stressing because you've got a project on a deadline or like an exam or whatever. And so maybe you just want to start with a mirror, like you'd really like some support with that. And then, before you take it to the very big things. Because even when you sometimes get exactly what we want to have, if we're not prepared for it, it can become overwhelming for us. So you don't want to overwhelm yourself. So the first thing when you work with a mirror is that you want to make sure that it's a safe gateway. And one of the best ways to do that is on the back of the mirror. You want to, if you work with symbols, say maybe you do Kundalini or Reiki or anything like that, whatever symbols then signify safety to you, you want to put that at the back of the mirror. Or maybe you just want to write, I am safe. I like to work with Merkaba, which is sort of like two triangles that are sort of like intertwined, because it is very much as above, so below. You can write words. If you're familiar with crystals, you can use maybe crystals. You can place them next to the mirror maybe. But whatever to you signifies safety, you can maybe just write that I am safe. This is a gateway only for the highest good. I am divinely protected. You know, all those sort of things. And also having the clear output or onset intention that this is only for the highest good. So even if you make little bloopsies along the way, there is still that universal support. You know, call in your angels, call in your guides, call in universal support, call in universal guidance. We don't have to do things alone. All right. But first of all, very important, you want to first start off with that safety aspect. And you want to really respect your mirror as well. When you think of something like, what is that story that they had that huntsman thing? Snow White? You know, with the mirror, they were speaking very powerfully how powerful mirrors are, you know, and you can also get a lot of communication from a mirror. This is very much advanced. This is something that I will teach in sort of like a advanced class, basically. But you know, a lot of times when you sort of get like the South African or the African Sangoma, basically, they work a lot with mirrors as well, and then sometimes they can see things in the mirror. So technically speaking, you can use mirrors for one of two things. You know, as we said, bringing things into your life or letting things go out of your life. And you want to be very clear about which way it is that you want. Simple thing to do, you get your safety on the back of the mirror first, and then you can just speak into the mirror. When you write things down, it becomes really powerful. So you can maybe write something down that you kind of put in front of the mirror. Maybe you want to have a little box that you have it in. And even though you can use a mirror like this for you know, for everyday things as well, you still want to remain or keep, you know, that point of like consciousness that you're also using it for positive things. So you want to be mindful, all right? I want to give you, I don't want to overwhelm you, but I want to give you enough so that to make sure that you are safe, because you know, working with mirrors is a little bit of a next level sort of thing. And whilst it can be a very positive thing, it's always important to remember that when we work with energy, because this is practical magic, if we don't practice caution and responsibility, it can become very unpleasant for us. You need to know this. That's important. Okay. Always cleanse your mirror before you use it. So maybe light a white candle. Maybe you know, light some incense like white sage, frankincense, palo santo. And a lot of times people ask, what is the difference between white sage and palo santo? So with white sage, it removes all energies, good and bad. It sort of like just cleans the slate. So if you're just going to burn white sage, you need to either with a crystal or with a different kind of incense, bring in that intention or just speak in the intention for what you want to have. Whereas Palo Santo, it just removes the negative energy and it keeps the positive energy. So a lot of people burn them simultaneously. What I would normally do is I will first do the white sage thing, and then I will do the Palo Santo thing, or maybe frankincense. Okay, and a lot of times people's like, I don't really have time to do all of that. And what I always say, and I will say it in all my teaching, if you don't have time to practice proper grounding, energy cleansing of the space of yourself before and after your session, if you don't have that sort of time, then you don't have time for the session, because that forms part of all of it. Okay, you want to be responsible. So you know, with mirrors, with being gateways, we can really speak powerful things into our life or out of our lives. I would prefer strongly that you have and it doesn't have to be a huge mirror, it can be something small, but I would prefer that you rather start off with something small that you can preferably keep either inside of a box, preferably maybe inside of like a black sort of like velvet or any black sort of material when you don't use it, to also give the channel, the space, a bit of a rest, and not to just sort of like let it lay over there, you know. And I'm going to make an extreme example, but you might really be into hunting or just shooting, target shooting. But when you're done with the gun, you're not just going to leave it laying over there on any cabinet, wherever it is, and any child, person, cat, whoever can just come across it. You're going to make sure that that gun is properly prepared before you start, properly maintained while you're using it, and also afterwards you're going to clean it, you're going to pack it away safely, you're going to be responsible about it. The same thing with mirrors, even more. Okay. Um, and so the thing where the water really comes in is that what you can actually do is what I normally do is I will have a bowl of water in front of the mirror, because water very much carries energy and intention. What I would sometimes do is I will sort of like put a white candle sort of like almost like in the water bowl in front of the mirror to make sure that the gateway remains safe and only a portal for the highest good of all, because dark energy can be sneaky. And so the thing is that the reason why I brought water into it all is because the same way that you use a physical mirror, you can also use water. You will sometimes see that people, sorry, maybe psychic workers, readers, be it that you like me, you like tarot or runes or oracle cards or leading the coffee leaves or whatever, really, you often have a bowl of water, because the water itself, it helps you to channel that information. So you can use like a bowl of water. When you sort of use a crystal ball, very much the same thing, really. Any sort of reflective surface really, really works very well for mirror work. So you don't necessarily just have to use a mirror. You can, I, for example, like to have a fountain flowing at the back, because it's that flowing energy that keeps on flowing. And I've got a beautiful clear quartz crystal ball. It's like a Buddha fountain. Some of you may have seen it on some of my videos before. That it has that energy that it puts out. And since we're speaking about crystal balls, what really makes crystal balls incredible, now you can use different shapes for different things. And when I go into more crystal healing coaching, I'll speak about that. But what a crystal ball basically does, it sort of sends the energy in all different directions. If you want to connect to the elementals of the earth, then water is a good way to go. Mirrors is a great way to go, and water is a fantastic way to go, because it helps you to connect to the elementals, the elemental beings. But it needs to be said that if you're going to work with elemental beings, fairies, dragons, all that sort of energy, anything in the fake kingdom, basically, you always want to practice energy protection. You always want to put out a good intention, because people's got this idea that, when we work with fairies, they're always happy to work with us, and, people almost use them sometimes like our slaves type of thing, and you want to have respect, okay? And I'm going to tell you something for nothing. You don't want to mess with fairies. You really don't want to mess with fairies. They are wonderful. I love them. We work together a lot. They love water. They love plants. But be sure that you're very well informed before you work with the fairy realm. And when we start using mirrors and we start using water, if we don't consciously work from a point of knowledge, and we just sort of, sometimes we have a bit of a whimsical thing about life, oh, everything is just love and light and my intention is good and everything's going to be fine. Not necessarily. Okay. I remember that I was speaking to somebody who was very new to tarot and very good with it, naturally very good with it, who didn't sort of bother too much about energy protection and stuff like that. And then the person also happened to literally be sitting in front of a mirror, even though, they weren't aware of it at the time, the power of mirrors, and, heard a little bit about water magic somewhere and just decided to put a bowl of water over there. And I said, you want to be mindful of what you are doing. I'm like, no, it's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. Couple of months down the line, everything wasn't that fine. Started having a lot of personal problems, domestic problems, marital problems. So you want to be very, 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 very mindful of what you are working with when you do it. And I'm going to tell you straight away that the information in this video, even though it's very helpful, this is not even slightly enough for you to start doing that sort of thing. You really want to do your homework, and you want to do your homework from reputable sources, cross-reference, get training from someone to really, really help you. But to let you know that if you just have a mirror in your space, You can write your positive things at the back, your protection, and maybe what is this mirror a guide for? So if you happen to maybe have a mirror where you come into your home or in your bedroom or wherever you are, set an intention for that mirror. What is it a gateway for? Maybe a gateway for positivity, for love and light to come into your space. But you also want to take care of it, clean it every now and then, put it out in the sun to recharge it. Okay. Remember that mirrors are formed when sand is basically melted. So it works well with that fire energy, which is a dragon energy, which is a formative energy. Fire energy is about quick changes in your life, all right? But again, try to not be almost fantastical about it. You want to be very responsible about it when you do work with, water energy, fire energy, mirrors, gateways. Um, I'm not going to go into it now, but you can also create a gateway, basically, like a physical gateway outside, works very best in nature and things like that. If you don't know how that works, don't even go there. Like, see, I'll make some videos about it maybe going forward. Maybe I'll create a course for it. But just to let you know that that is available out there. But I want you to please be responsible with the energy that you work with, because something that's beautiful can quite quickly become less beautiful. So please be mindful. Okay. So, but I just really wanted to touch on that. But obviously, the water thing that you do every day, that you can do. That is perfect for you. Okay. Maybe have a little mirror that you do the protection first, and you're very sort of like aware of the fact that this is the energy that you are working with. All right. So, from my heart, namaste, love and light.